Good morning, everybody. Miss A here. I'm going to show you a tutorial video on how to draw a basic eye in frontal view. So frontal view means you're looking at the person straight on. So I can go into a lot of stuff about eyes. There are different ways to make your person look like they have different emotions. You could do someone who's sad or angry or neutral. We're going to go into that on a different day. So right now we're just doing a very basic eye. Everybody's eye is going to look totally different. So, but this is kind of what our assignment's going to be. We're going to have 4 eyes. Fold your paper into 4, just like we did for the values when we created the values. Write your name on the top, drawing a basic eye. And you should have 4 eyes. So this is kind of the end result here. All right, so let's get into this. So I've stressed over and over on the slideshow that I put up, don't be overwhelmed. Take this one step at a time. So step 1, we're going to fold our paper in half. And fold it again so that we have 4 boxes. Okay, put your name on the top. Miss Ansel, drawing a basic eye. Now for this video, for length, I'm just going to be drawing 1, but I do want you to turn in 4. This isn't something that should take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The more time you spend on this, the better your grade's gonna be. You have a whole week to do this, so, maybe work on 1 each day. Just take your time with it. Don't be overwhelmed by it. So we have number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Okay, so I'm going off this slideshow. Hopefully you guys have all looked at that. It's attached under the assignment. It says just drawing eyes, and you can click on that. And you can break this down step by step, which is what I'm going to do in this video. So the first step is to draw just a very basic football shape. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see. I'm going to get right in here so you can see what I'm doing. Now, if you go on YouTube, there are like dozens and dozens of different ways to do this. So I'm just drawing the way that I do it, the way that I learned how to draw a basic eye. If you want to look into other videos, that go into more detail, you can. But for this video, this is what I'm going to be doing. So step number 1, we're going to draw like a basic football shape. See, I'm drawing really light. Okay, so you got your top line. Over here, we're gonna draw like a little crease like that. That's for your water line, your tear duct, right? That's where, you cry out of the tear duct. Okay, we're gonna draw a curved line over here and like a little bubble in there. So that's your tear duct. Okay, so the next step is to draw a circle in the middle. This is the iris, this is the colored part of your eye. Now this shape very rarely should touch the bottom, so it'll sort of look like it's floating. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you can pause this video at any time and work at your own pace. So I have the basic shape of the eye right now. I have the tear duct over here, and I have the iris, the colored part of your eye. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, next is we're gonna draw the pupil in the middle. That's the little black part of your eye. Now, depending on how much light is in the room, if it's a dark room, this pupil will be bigger. If you're outside and there's a lot of light, the pupil will be smaller. So the size of this doesn't really matter for right now. So that's going to be our pupil. Now we need to draw a little bubble shape above that, like a curved shape. Now this is going to remain white because this is the highlight. If you stop this video and go right now and look in a mirror, you'll see that there should be a highlight, like a white speck, and that is just the reflection of light that's in the room. Next up, we're going to totally color in this pupil. Now, this is going to be your darkest value in this drawing. And if you looked at my slideshow, it talked about how you can use values to help you create a more realistic eye. And that's where this comes into play. So this pupil, you're just coloring it in all dark, and you can use a regular pencil or a mechanical pencil. That doesn't matter. Just make sure you have an eraser in case you make a mistake. So this is going to be our darkest value on this eye, and that's going to kind of be your gauge for the rest of the drawing. All right, we have a basic eye shape, which is a football shape. We have a tear duct over in the corner. We have the colored part, the iris, pupil, and a highlight. Our next step, we're going to draw our eyelid above the eye. This is not the eyebrow. We're not going into an eyebrow today at all. So this line should go in the shape of the top of the eye right now. Just kind of try to get it to be parallel with the top of the eye. It's sort of just going to end once you get to the corner of the eye. Now, the one down below is going to be our water line, and it's also going to run parallel with the bottom of your eye and sort of end over here. And these don't necessarily have to be connected. Alrighty, eyelid, and we have a water line. Next, we're going to start to put some eyelashes on the top of the eye. The eyelashes should be going on this line, not the eyelid line. So you sort of have to do quick motions and make sure that they're coming off of this line. They're going to be curved until you get to the middle part of your eye, then they sort of go straight up. So let's stop there. You can go back and add more later, but just make sure they're slightly curved. They should be longer at the edge. If you're a guy, you might want to make your eyelashes a little bit shorter. All right, so we get to the center, they kind of go straight up. Now we're going to switch directions completely, and they're going to get shorter as we get in towards your tear duct. They're going to get shorter. So shorter, and then they're going to be longer over here on the other side. Now the eyelashes on the bottom, they're typically shorter, and they're typically lighter in color than the top. I'm just going to make mine And if you look in the mirror and pause this video, just go look at your eyelashes. You have hundreds of eyelashes, so there should be a lot of them. Okay, so I have some eyelashes started. Now you can go back and you're going to kind of darken your original eye shape a little bit. So we drew lighter at the beginning, and now we're going back and we can darken that up. You're going to darken up the corner of your iris going around. Now, if you have darker eyes, you might want to make this part darker. If you have lighter colored eyes, like light blue, you can make this value a little bit lighter. I'm going to do mine darker because I have dark eyes. And I want to also say that your drawing, the first eye you do, depending on how long it's been since you've drawn people, and we haven't really gone into it this year, you're probably not going to be really happy with the first one. This is going to take a lot of practice. I would suggest drawing as many eyes as possible so that you feel comfortable and confident. The more you do this, the more skills you're going to develop. So I'm adding a darker value around the edge still. And believe it or not, we're almost done. Okay. I think the next step is to start adding lines in your iris. So again, go pause this video, go look in a mirror. A lot of lighting, you'll see a lot of lines, right? So start to add a bunch of lines, sort of like rays of light coming out of the center. I always start at the center and work my way out. Remember, don't draw lines in this white area because that's the highlight. If you need to take a break at any point, be like, wow, Miss A, you're going too fast. I need to slow this down. Absolutely. Slow it down for yourself. You know, I've been drawing for a long time. I'm pretty ancient. I just turned 30 last year. So, you know, it's a process. And over time, you'll get better and better. Once you have one layer of your lines, you can add another layer that are a little darker. So pressing a little bit harder. Remember not to draw lines through this white area up here. And I think I also mentioned about different styles of drawing, different preferences. You know, drawing in a more realistic way is what we're focusing on. But if you typically like to draw cartoons or anime or just simple line drawings on your own, that's totally fine. But I think it's important to know how to do this and understand the process. What's next? Next, we're going to start to thicken this dark line. I'm doing little round motions. Do it all around this eye. So I'm doing mine a little bit darker because I have darker colored eyes. If you have lighter eyes, you might not want to press as hard so that you can make your eye look a little bit lighter. So right now my video is 12 minutes. So if you're really taking your time, you know, this is just one eye and you still have 3 more to go. I would suggest after you have one drawn, take a break. I might give you guys 2 weeks to do this, to turn it in, just because I know this is going to take a little bit more time. Next, you're going to want to add a medium value over top of everything else to darken that up and blend it in a little bit. I can't stress enough how important it is to really take your time with this. When you take your time with these drawings, the quality of your work is so much better. And I'll be able to tell if you didn't spend a lot of time on this. So I suggest just really taking your time. You'll be a lot happier with your results if you slow it down a little bit and take your time. Okay, we have one more step. Now the last step is to, well, you can go back and darken up these eyelashes a little bit more. If you're a girl and you like to wear mascara, you can darken this up a little bit. If you want your eyelashes to be lighter, more subtle, you don't have to do that step. Just darkening this up a little bit. Finally, we're going to talk about blending and shading inside the white part of your eye to make it look more round. And I want you guys to think back on when we did oil pastel and we were blending and shading like a round shape. Remember how I said not to do your shading back side to side, back and forth like this, because that's flat. If you are shading a circle, you have to kind of go in the direction of that shape. So like more in a C shape to do your blending. We're going to do that on the corners of these eyes. So I like to turn my paper and lightly create a light gray value just in the corner here. So that pressure control, you don't want to do a dark value here. And if you do, you know, you can go back and you can erase that. But then you can take your finger and smear this around a little bit. So I don't know if you guys can see that, the difference between the left side and the right. Just doing a little bit of shading in there, it's already made your eye look more round. Now I'm going to do this other edge. Remember that light value right here. I'm going to take this down to the bottom. You want to leave the area white next to your iris, but this little corner should be like a lighter gray. Now take your finger and you can smear this around a little bit. When you guys get into middle school and high school, you're going to learn about these shading tools. They're called shading stumps. But we don't have to worry about this right now, but you can use something like this to help you with blending. But all right, so that's one eye. Remember, when you turn this in, you should have 4 eyes in frontal view, 1 in every box. And you can play around with, you know, the shape of your eyelid, the iris, the pupils. I made 1 more dilated, 1 not. So you can experiment with stuff like that too. Just take your time, have fun.